Good morning, students. We are in the chapter Microbes in Human Welfare, where we have studied about the household uses of microbes, in which we studied about labs, that is lactic acid bacilli species. Next, cheese and milk products, especially the Swiss cheese, Propionibacterium sharmani, where it is caused by the puffing nature because of the CO2. And next, we studied about the Roquefort cheese, Penicillium roqueforti is useful for ripening the cheese. We studied about the bread, which is the baker's yeast, Saccharomyces cerevisiae, toddy, which is the fermented drink extracted from the palm plants. So, next we studied about the industrial uses of microbes or industrial products like the acids, that is acetic acid, vinegar, citric acid, butyric acid. Like that we studied about various types of acids. Next we studied about the enzymes, that is proteases, pectinases, lipases, next nucleases, like the different types of enzymes which are especially used in different industries. Along with that, antibiotics extracted from Penicillium notatum, which is a fungus, which is widely being used, where we studied about Alexander Fleming along with Florey and Chain, who got the Nobel Prize for this particular discovery. Not only that, we studied about the other bioactive compounds like streptokinase, very important one, which is commonly called as clotbuster. Next, which is actually been extracted from the genetically modified Streptococcus species. Next, we have the statins extracted from Monascus purpureus, where it is widely being used as the blood cholesterol lowering agent. And we have the other example for the cyclosporin A, which is extracted from Trichoderma polysporum, which is actually also extracted from the yeast, that is this particular commonly being useful for, that is as an immunosuppressant for organ transplantation. For organ transplantation it will be used. After this, we studied about the sewage water treatment, where whatever the sewage with large amount of BOD, when being released into the local water body, it is showing the process of contaminating the water bodies and decreasing the quality of the water and disturbing the aquatic ecosystem. So, the Ganga Action Plan, Yamuna Action Plan, under the government influence, they are constructing sewage treatment plants. The sewage treatment plants will purify the water, especially by using the microbes. In these sewage treatment plants, the most important question expected is flux. So, water flux, it is the physical association of the bacteria and that is the fungus, which will form the mesh-like structures in the aerobic tank of the secondary sewage treatment plant is called as flux. Like that we can talk about the flux and the sewage water treatment. So now, after that, in our syllabus, we have the next important topic. It is biogas plants. So, we have the biogas plants. So, how microbes are being used for production of biogas? That's what we have to talk here. So, here we take the help of the microbes called by the name as methanogens. Example for the methanogen is methanobacterium. Methanobacterium is the microorganism which is a methanogen. So what is the meaning of a methanogen? These methanogens will show a peculiar process of production of methane. So methane is the product which is being produced and that will be used as the biogas for combusting and which is an alternative source of energy. So now we shall see how a typical biogas plant will look like. So we are talking about the typical biogas plant. So here the typical biogas plant will have the first important tank. Actually, this is being constructed by brick and cement. So, this is the first tank. And then this is the next tank. So this is also been constructed with the concrete. So this is the second tank. And this is the third tank. So there are 3 tanks for the biogas production. So this is the first tank. It is called by the name as slurry tank. And the second tank is called by the name as digester. And the third one is called as sludge tank. So now you should know that the slurry tank and the digester both are connected like this. So it is the connection. And you also should know this sludge tank and the digester is also being connected like this. Like this. So now first we shall talk about the slurry tank. This slurry tank will be useful to feed the raw material for biogas production. So for biogas production, what is the raw material? It is the dung. The dung. It is the excretory material of the cattle, along with straw, along with urine, whatever is there. So the dung is mixed with a large amount of water. So this is the large amount of water. It is being mixed and the mix is being fed into the digester. So what is the raw material for this particular biogas production and all? It is the cow dung. Cow dung is the source of microorganism called as methanobacterium. So this particular methanobacterium will be available in the cow dung. We are mixing with a large amount of water, making it paste like, that is called a slurry, and that slurry is being transferred into the digester. Now that slurry is being available here. Now you should know that the most important thing, we should provide anaerobic conditions for this particular biogas production, because methane production is by anaerobic method, because it is not aerobic, it is anaerobic method only. The most important thing is this only. Next, here we will be having a iron dome like structure like this. So this is the iron dome like structure. This dome is being connected with a valve. So like this. So we have this, whatever the methane is being produced in this particular digester, means first of all you should know that in the absence of oxygen is not there, anaerobic condition. So methanogenesis will take place, digestion of the organic matter will take place, and the biogas is being collected in this particular inverted dome shaped structure or inverted structure. So biogas will be produced. Now you should know that what is the chemical composition of this biogas. Nearly maximum composition is the methane. We will normally call it as marsh gas. Actually, if you see cattle, that is the buffaloes, cows, goats, you can see large stomachs. Why large stomachs? Means their stomach is having a extra chamber called rumen. That's why they are called as ruminants. These ruminants are been having the methanogenic microorganisms in them. They show the methanogenesis. That's why their stomach will be very large. So as that is methanogens are available in their stomach, the excreta of it also will have methanogens. That's why we are using it as the source. And we added to this particular digester. So the methanogens in anaerobic condition break this particular organic matter and produce the biogas. Now this is the biogas. The biogas is having large component, nearly 60 to 70% is the methane, plus H2S gas, plus nitrogen gas, plus we also have large component of carbon dioxide. Actually, methane maximum, next place is for carbon dioxide, small, these particular components also will be available. So the methane gas or this biogas, whatever is collected, is directly connected to the household, and we can use it for different products, or it is an alternative source of energy. That's what we can use. Not only that, after this particular digestion, whatever the waste material is available here, that will come into the sludge tank. Somewhere you talked about primary sludge, secondary sludge. That's what we studied, or that's what we used the words in the sewage water treatment. Primary tank, primary sludge. Secondary tank, secondary sludge. Secondary sludge is called activated sludge, like that we are using. So this is called as sludge tank. Now whatever the component which is obtained out from the digester is called as the sludge, that is being used as manure. That is directly being used as manure. So here if you observe, this diagram will be commonly asked for 3 marks question in our PU. But in the NEET also the question can be asked. What are the microbes present in the digester? What is the source of microorganisms? What is the chemical composition of biogas? What is this particular tank called? Or anaerobica, aerobica, like that different questions can be asked. So now if you see this typical biogas plant having 3 chambers, first is the slurry tank, second one is the digesting tank, third one is the sludge tank. Now we shall talk about what are the benefits of this biogas production and all. Actually, there is an organization called by the name as KBIC. It is Khadi and Village Industries Commission. So Khadi Village Industries, Khadi and Village Industries Commission, it is the planning of the government which will provide subsidy for constructing these biogas plants in a village. Imagine that 5 families are having 2 to 3 cattle in their home. At that time, rather than throwing that particular dung and the waste materials of the cattle, if those 5 villagers together construct one biogas plant, the government will provide the subsidy under this Khadi and Village Industries Commission for the construction, and we can use the biogas very effectively. This was implemented in Haryana and Gujarat and became most successful, and it is one of the effective method. Not only that, there are other uses also. If we simply throw away the cow dung and the different other components, you can see that it is producing foul smell because of the methane production. Foul smell. The foul smell is because of methane, ammonia production and the different other. But when we use the same thing in the biogas production, automatically we are able to decrease the smell. And not only that, we can use it as a manure, but here the same thing we are using as the manure, because we are not throwing away the waste materials and phosphorus, so different micronutrients and macronutrients will be available in this sludge also, and will be widely used as manure. Foul smell will be lost. Alternative source of energy. In a village, we can use this particular energy for lighting the bulbs and the different other also. So those areas where electricity is not there, we can use this particular place. So like that, it is the typical biogas plant. So that is one of the most important question in microbes in human welfare. The next topic in the microbes in human welfare is the biocontrol agents. Now we shall see what is this biocontrol agents. So, normally, imagine that this is a plant. So this plant will be eaten by some insects. Imagine that an insect the insects which are coming and eating away the leaves, maybe the flowers, maybe the fruits, maybe or the different other. So these are normally called by the name as pests. These are especially insects. So normally to protect our crop, we will use some chemicals called as pesticides. We can also call them as insecticides. So these are pesticides and insecticides. Imagine that normally to protect our crop, we are using some chemicals. So we will call them as chemical pesticides and chemical insecticides. So whenever I am using these particular pesticides, insecticides, what is the problem? So to kill these particular ones, is there any measurement? Imagine that 10 to 30% of these chemicals are useful to kill these particular pests. But what about the remaining 70%? That 70% of the insecticides and the chemical pesticides what we are using is showing soil pollution, water pollution, air pollution. So these all are called by the name as pollution agents. Year by year, if we are using the same chemicals, what will happen to the quality of the soil there? It will be filled with some whole chemicals only. Those are called as chemical insecticides and pesticides. Not only that, imagine that an unwanted plant is growing. To kill these ones, we are also using the chemicals called as weedicides. So these are called as weedicides to kill the weeds. So weedicides, pesticides, insecticides, chemical, these all, whenever we are adding, automatically they are causing the soil, water and the air pollution. Rather than that, now why can't we use some microorganisms or the living organisms to protect our crop, rather than depending on all these particular ones is called biocontrol agents. Living controlling agents. So what they will control? They will control the weed, they will control the pests, they will control the insects and protect our crop naturally without harming the ecosystems there, without harming the useful insects and useful plants and without harming the ecology, without disturbing the environmental conditions there like pollutions and all those particular ones. If we use these organisms, it is called biocontrol agents. So these are nicknamed as weedicides, biopesticides, bioinsecticides. Now we shall talk about what are the examples for this. So in the biocontrol agents, we can have lots of examples. So first we are talking about biocontrol agents. So these are normally called as biopesticides, bioinsecticides, bioweedicides are there. So we have biopesticides, bioinsecticides and the bioweedicides. What are the examples for this? First I will give the examples for the biocontrol agents. The first important example, it is the ladybird beetles. So what is this ladybird beetles? If you observe these particular beetles, we will be normally having red and black markings. Those are called as ladybird beetles. Actually, they will eat away the aphids. What are these aphids? Aphids are long insects like this. So, actually, these particular insects which are spoiling our crop are eaten away by the ladybird beetles and protect our crop naturally. Not only that, we have another example. The second example is dragonflies. Dragonflies are effectively able to predate or eat on mosquitoes. So mosquitoes generally suck away the sap of paddy fields or different other plants like cotton and different other. So these mosquitoes will be eaten away by the dragonflies and the mosquitoes level will be naturally decreased and our crop is being protected. That's what will happen in this one. But here we are not taking any use with the microbes, but we are telling what is biocontrol agent, and this is the department called as entomology department. What is this entomology department? It is the branch of zoology where it will study of useful and harmful insects. Now see here, is a dragonfly useful or not? if ladybird beetle is useful or not. So when we approach this entomology department in an agricultural university, telling that I am suffering with the aphids which are eating away my crop, or mosquitoes which are problematic in my crop, automatically they will suggest to take these ladybird beetles, and they will supply also, such that without any chemicals we can solve this problem of pest and insects. Not only that, they will not kill the pollinating insects which are useful ones. So the biodiversity will be healthy without spoiling, without using any chemical fertilizers or chemical pesticides and these particular ones. The third important example, actually here we will start with the microbes. So Trichoderma species. Actually you should know that it is the fungus. This fungus will show or will belong to the genus called Glomus. The genus of Trichoderma fungus is called Glomus. So this will stop root-borne diseases. Root-borne diseases are controlled by this particular mechanism. Not only that, we have another peculiar virus. So here you should know that we are taking the help of the fungus called Trichoderma belonging to the genus called Glomus to stop root-borne diseases of plants. The fourth important example, which is a virus. Virus also we are taking the help. It is the baculovirus. Very important virus called as baculovirus, which belong to the genus called nucleopolyhedrovirus. So nucleopolyhedrovirus is the genus where it is the baculovirus, which is a virus. What it will do? It will attack on arthropodan pests. Arthropoda. So arthropoda example, aphids, mosquitoes are arthropodans which are spoiling our crop. Those particular ones are also being suppressed. Those particular ones are also being those particular pests are being removed away by the virus. So if we spray this baculovirus, automatically it will kill these particular arthropodans. Automatically our crop will be protected. That's what you should know in this virus. So fungus we have taken the help, virus we have taken the help, and the fifth most important one, it is the bacteria, which is commonly called as Bt. What is this particular Bt? It is Bacillus thuringiensis. So Bacillus thuringiensis is a bacterium which is nicknamed as Bt. What is the special here? It will produce cryproteins. What is the special of these cryproteins? These cryproteins will help in killing bollworms. It will kill the bollworms, especially which are being infecting the corn, cotton, different other commercial crops. So we have bacteria, virus, fungus which are used as biocontrol agents and which are spoiling our crop. They are being protected and act as biocontrol agents, and they will protect our crops. That's why these are called as biopesticides, bioinsecticides and the bioweedicides. The most important, frequently asked, match the following question expected from Trichoderma belonging to the genus called Glomus, virus called baculovirus, bacteria called Bacillus thuringiensis. Like that we have the biocontrol agents. Now we must talk about the next important topic. It is the biofertilizers. So what is the special of this biofertilizers? Actually, till now we talked about biopesticides, insecticides to protect our crop. But what is this biofertilizers? These are the living organisms, either fungus and different other, which will enhance the growth of microorganisms in the soil and enhance the growth of our required plants. Especially, it will increase the productivity of the crop. Either corn, cotton, paddy, different other, whatever commercial crops are there, those can be grown and increase the productivity by using these biofertilizers. For this, we can take the help of different other microorganisms. The first important example, it is the cyanobacteria, which are commonly called as the blue-green algae. It is the BGA, blue-green algae. It is the cyanobacteria. So, the example for the cyanobacteria, it is the Anabaena, nostoc, oscillatoria, like this. Lot of these particular microorganisms are being used for increasing the productivity as they act as biofertilizers. So, it is the next we have azolla, also one of the most important example. Azolla, Anabaena, nostoc. Actually, there is an association between this azolla and Anabaena. Actually, it will increase the paddy productivity by 30%. 30% increase in the productivity will be done by this cyanobacteria, and it is the association of Anabaena and nostoc. And we can also take the help of bacteria. The second important one, it is the bacteria. In this free living soil bacteria like Azotobacter, Azospirillum are the two examples. These are free living soil bacteria which will able to use for the conversion of the atmospheric free nitrogen into nitrites and nitrates and provide it to the plant, and the plant growth will be very, very abnormal, very, very higher. Productivity also will be higher. Like that, it is the bacteria. And the third important one, we can take the help of the fungus. It is the Trichoderma species belonging to the genus called Glomus. Already we studied here. Trichoderma species. The same Trichoderma species can be useful for increasing the quality of the soil. That is by acting as a biofertilizer. So, it is how it will do this particular process. That's what we should study. So, the first important one is this Trichoderma will show an association called as, we can show the association called mycorrhizae. Mycorrhiza. So what is this mycorrhiza? It is the association of the fungus with the roots of various plants is called as mycorrhiza. Means the fungus, if these are the roots, the fungus will be growing along with it. If it grows like that, what will happen? What is the use? It increases the phosphorus availability to plants. First one it is this one. Phosphorus available to the plant is there. Plant will grow healthy. Plant will be improved very fastly. That's what is the increases phosphorus availability to plants. The next important one. It increases water availability. Water availability to plants and make the plants to grow even in drought. That's why it is called drought resistant. So it will make the plant drought resistant. So we can grow that particular plants even in less quality soil water or less quality soil where water availability is lesser. At that place also these particular plants can be grown. Not only that, it will show decrease in root-borne diseases. So, when this physical association of the fungus is there, that fungus will not allow the growth of other plants, other pests in this particular, which are especially root-borne, spoiling the crop, and all those will be stopped. Not only that, it overall increases the productivity and yield, and all those will be gradually increased. Like that, we can have these particular uses. So, biofertilizers, this also can be asked in a 3 marks pattern, where what are the microbes which are used as biofertilizers? First one, fungus can be used, bacteria can be used, cyanobacteria can be used. If bacteria means free living bacteria are there, not only free living, we can also have the symbionts. Symbiotic bacteria also are available, like the Rhizobium bacteria. The Rhizobium bacteria, which is living in the root nodules of leguminous plants, so also will show the process of converting the atmospheric free nitrogen into nitrates and the nitrates and improve the quality of the plant. Like that we can see the different ones. So bacteria free living also are there. Symbiotic is also there. Free living is Astrobacter and Azospirillum. Symbiotic is the Rhizobium. Fungus called Trichoderma species belonging to the genus called as Glomus will be useful like this. And Cyanobacteria, it is the blue-green algae. It is the Anabina nostoc and Oscillatoria. Like that, different other components also will be useful. Student, this completes with the small chapter called Microbes in Human Welfare. Next class, we shall discuss some questions related to this particular chapter. Students, don't waste much time. Please try to revise your first few topics or be healthy with the present running topics. Not only that, we the lecturers are available in your college. If you personally want to come and get your doubts clarified, we will be available in the college. All the best. Read well. Thank you.